My wife goes, you can't act like you're on vacation every day. And I was one of those guys, I justified it because I didn't start drinking until like 4 o'clock. But of course, by 5 or 6, I might as well drink all day. The first time I tried AA, I walked into a meeting at high noon on a Saturday, and I just cold turkey it for 5-6 days, and Jimmy Buffett died. So that was a reason to drink. So I went straight to the liquor store, got a couple bottles of tequila. And so anyways, that last week, it does, man. It just freaking owns me. And it was so progressive, and it gets worse. And so if you know you're heading the right, don't wait until if you have to hit rock, like deep, everyone has their own, as my wife says, everyone has their own rock bottom. Mm-hmm. You have your own rock bottom. And I had enough.
This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
Hey everybody, just want to welcome you to another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan. This episode's brought to you by Sober Strong Apparel. Sober Strong Apparel isn't just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. We got heavyweight t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got hats, we got banners like this one right here. They've got so many options now, even shorts, joggers, so many cool options. They represent recovery, and 10% of every purchase goes to treatment facilities. And if you use code ROCKBOTTOM, all capital letters, all one word, ROCKBOTTOM at checkout, you can get a 15% discount. So use that at checkout at SoberStrongApparel.com. Love this company, love their mission, love what they represent. Be sure to check in and ask about the Impact Sponsorship Program. It's a great way of giving back. It's a great program from a great brand. Definitely check them out and talk to Chris, DM on Instagram if you're interested. Otherwise, go to SoberStrongApparel.com. Check out all the cool options. We like to rock recovery like a badge of honor. I love this brand. Love what it stands for. Stand on business. The next chapter is yours. Enjoy this episode. All right, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan. I'm here with my guest today, Michael. Michael, how you doing?
Hey, it's a great day. Great day to be sober.
It looks beautiful wherever you are.
I'm on the Baja in Cerritos, California, near Todos Santos.
Awesome. All right. So now we know where you live. As you know, this is a recovery podcast. A lot of the time we talk about recovery stories and kind of where you're at today after going through addiction or alcoholism and all that. So first and foremost, do you have a sober date? And if so, what is it? And what was your drink or drug of choice? And all that.
Yeah, August 30th, 2025. It was alcohol, tequila, mostly tequila. And I would take indica edibles to fall asleep at night too. Rather than chasing the buzz, I would take 2 to 3 indica edibles, the 10 milligrams, just to go to bed. Nothing good happened after about 9:30, 10 o'clock chasing the buzz. So
yeah,
so
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Marijuana was a big part of my life for some years there in between. And I don't know why, but just one day it just wasn't doing much for me. It gave me more anxiety than anything. So I just cut it out altogether, but kept drinking though. So so I want to know kind of, now that you kind of got some good sobriety under your belt, I want to know a little bit about your background, kind of tell me about childhood. Did you grow up in that area, or where'd you grow up, and what was your family dynamic like before using anything?
Yeah, I was raised in the Bay Area, Pleasanton, California. I had great parents. Just in high school, my dad said, son, you're going to do what you want to do, but just know that alcoholism runs in the family. So just to keep it in check. And so I made sure to keep it in check. It wasn't until my early 50s that it really caught me. But yeah, I just knew early on, I could just drink more than my friends could. It was really weird. Ever since my first drink, I was just more comfortable. My consumption was just higher, just naturally higher. It just gave me that fuel, that energy, and I was kind of a happy drunk, personal drunk. But so early on, I had a great childhood, great family. It wasn't until
no traumatic moments or divorce or anything like that.
No divorce. I've been married 27 years, had 3 kids, had 3 really good kids, had the same job for about 25 years. It's just the job dynamic started changing, to technology, got a little bit older, private equity came in. People thought I was handling the change as well initially, but it was just a tequila every night. Started and you know how progressive it is, right? But then also it picked up during COVID. My wife was in a bad jet ski accident about 17 years ago. And looking back, I realized, yeah, my consumption started even back then. But it wasn't
Yeah.
really until May of 2024, I was on vacation with my best friend, Jason, down here in the Baja. And we're having lunch. And that's when he kind of gave me hey, Michael, I've never seen you out of control. However, you definitely don't stop at 2 drinks and you drink till you go to bed. At that point, 2 drinks is just a warm up, right? A pre-game warm up.
Yeah.
And then about a month later, my wife goes, "Do you think maybe you're a high functioning alcoholic?" I guess my response was absolutely. I was waiting for her to say something
Yeah.
anyways, for like a year or two.
Well, let's
So
backtrack a little bit and
yeah,
evolve to that point. But like, what was your first experience with alcohol? Like, was it like an instant blackout, like some people? Was it just a taste? Was it like, did you get a good buzz and feel like, hey, this is something I'm going to do the rest of my life? Like, what was it?
yeah. The first time was in high school, freshman year. It was a basketball team on a Friday night. One of the brothers, an older brother's 21. He bought us a bunch of beer. And then just on a Friday night, we enjoyed it. And we did that quite often on the weekends. It was back in the Bay Area. The one father's dad was an assistant coach for the Warriors. And I remember Chris Mullen was on the team. And
I remember
my
those days.
teammate, yeah, Chris Mullen, I guess he would have beers before the game during halftime. So it's kind of normal. You're talking late 80s. And so we all, yeah, beer was no big deal. None of us did drugs. But then, of course, I did notice, I think my senior year in high school, that Chris Mullen went to rehab. So that was
Wow.
kind of a mental note.
He went
But
to the
yeah,
Pacers eventually, right? Or something? Yeah.
yeah. I think he's
Uh,
still a manager. But yeah, but that's when it all
Nice.
started, just in high school, just mostly on the weekends. But then it started, increasing most days,
Did you go to
after the season.
Did you go into college and continue it there?
Yeah, I went to BYU. So it kind of was almost forced sobriety, you could say. At BYU, I still drank here and there, but I even sort of, I'm still Christian, believe in God, and we'll get into that with the whole Iboga experience. But yeah, so I didn't drink a lot in college. After college, it really, I got my first job, started having a little bit of money, started traveling. Then I really started picking it up, not just Friday, Saturday night, but then on Monday, Tuesday. There's always a reason to drink, right?
Yeah.
And
No,
so
every excuse.
there was always, I think Tuesdays and Wednesdays like my only day off, right? But but
Yeah.
then I would but then I got married and that slowed down. We had our first child. So I always dabbled on the weekends. It kept it in check, even with work. I loved work trips. I was always going to the Bay Area. At this time, we're living in Sacramento. Always going to San Diego. So work trips with guys I travel with, we'd go out at night and we'd overdo it, but it was fun. It really wasn't until yeah, early on in COVID, if you ask my wife, she'll say early COVID, I thought every day was, I always partied hard on vacation, right? 7 days of vacation once a year. I
Yeah.
overdid it. But then
Yeah.
yeah, get in
Co-
control. But it wasn't,
COVID brought you, were you one of those people that had to start working remote or something or got,
it was already remote. It's just work kind of slowed down and we weren't traveling anymore. So I was just drinking at home. And after about 2 or 3 months, my wife goes, "You can't act like you're on vacation every day." And I was one of those guys. I justified it because I didn't start drinking until like 4 o'clock. But of course, by 5 or 6, I might as well drink all day. And I was getting my blood work done every year, and my blood work would come back fine. Sometimes, like, really. So I wouldn't get blacked out drunk until really later in life, and that's why I'd kind of have a program where I would sit out front. I'd listen to a podcast, listen to country music, just have my bottle of tequila. Of course, I had a couple, I was rotating them, right? I was really good at rotating bottles. And my wife would yeah, I was a prepared,
little
I was a very,
Cuervo, little 1500 or 1800? Yeah.
Casadores. I could clear out the liquor store at Casadores. But I'd have one in my backpack. What was really humbling was I always had a bottle in the hallway bathroom underneath the sink, and every time I take a chug, there's a big mirror there. it was so degrading after a while. It's like, man, you
Yeah.
lost
And that's a red
control.
flag too, just having it hidden in the bathroom, and once you start to be discreet about it, it is always kind of like an eye opener. It's like, why am I hiding it? I know I'm doing something wrong.
And that was a problem. I noticed you keep one maybe in the garage, of course, the
Yeah.
closet. I remember one morning I woke up, well, I didn't drink that much last night. Boy, I was really good. Then you're like, man, I forgot about, dang it, you know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was a prepared alcoholic. I always made sure I had booze on hand.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. How much, when it got to like COVID and you're drinking at your worst, like, are you waking up and drinking? You have the shakes and stuff?
See, and that's why I justified I didn't have a problem because I wasn't having withdrawals. I get my blood work done every year, and blood work was good. So I'm like, look, honey, I'm good.
Yeah.
But what started happening was the anxiety kicked in. I never had anxiety before, and that started
Hmm.
kicking in around 2023. My skin started itching. I'm like, what is going on here? My skin's itching, and then my stomach just started feeling. It was really uncomfortable until I had two, three, four, five shots, and then I was back to normal until the next day. But
Yeah.
those but in my family, there's a, history of alcoholism, history of heart attacks in their 50s, and I just
Hmm.
felt it. My rock bottom was gonna be if I had a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah.
And I was tired of people dying, and they're saying, "Oh, he died of a heart attack or a stroke." No, he did. He died from alcoholism,
Hmm.
period. And
So
so it
true.
wasn't until yeah, that was a pet peeve of mine. And that's when I knew once my buddy said something, once my wife said something. And then I see a therapist on a regular once a month, and I brought it up to her. She's the one that recommended, "Hey, you need to consider rehab," because I just couldn't stop, Ryan. I mean, I tried to stop, 2, 3, if I stopped for 4 or 5 days, I thought I won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And I probably stopped 2 dozen times. I just could not stop. It had me. Alcohol, I thought I thought it was my reward, right? Because I was a sales guy for work. Tech sales, and so you get a sale, you drink. I mean, I drank pretty much every. One thing that was funny is I went to the alcoholic calculator. Am I an alcoholic? The first time I went to that calculator, probably 10 years ago, I really was only drinking. I think like 3 days a week. Have I already? And then by the time at the end, I'm basically 7 days a week, and I'm still justifying. Well, I didn't drink one day 10 days ago. I'm
I know. I would do the same thing. I just, I would go into the doctor's office and I would, have anxiety and I would think I was having panic attacks. And I just remember now that knowing what I know, they were asking me how much I drank and I would always sugarcoat it and be like, yeah, like 2 or 3 nights a week, a few beers. And I'm like, no, I have 9 to 15 beers every single day. And I didn't want to tell them that. And then I get older and I keep justifying it even more. And I'm just like, yeah, today's, it just got, it's progressive, like you said. So,
It's so progressive. It got to the point where that fifth was, yeah, I could do a fifth. It wasn't a problem. And
yeah. And I think the
yeah,
money we spend on all that on a daily basis, so in tech
yeah.
sales and stuff, like I'm assuming you traveled for work, like and that's a big part of it too. Like, do you get like where you're getting comp like drinks and stuff, like on the like where you can go out with people and you drink and there's a lot of stuff related to that.
Yeah, I had great colleagues I travel with. So a couple of them specifically, we'd overindulge at times, but we'd wake up and get the job done. But it'd start around 5 o'clock at night. And so I loved traveling for work. I had not, on flights flying, I can't remember being sober on a flight. This is my first time in the last 9 months being sober on a flight. That was a change.
That's one of my biggest victories in sobriety was going on a flight without pre-funking before security, without drinking at the airport, without drinking on the plane. I'm like, this changes my whole traveling. So, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that
I'd
was a
have I'd
huge one.
have I'd have those bottles, those like shampoo bottles, fill those up, and
Yep.
yeah,
I'd
you'd
fill
be
up 5 hour
prepared.
energy drinks. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I always had that. It was irresponsible not to, Ryan. Right? You had to pregame and have those little bottles with you.
I know.
Yeah.
So going on my first trip without alcohol involved was so bizarre to me. Like sitting in the airport and just being present, I'm like, wow, this is so weird. And I even made a post online about it, and I wasn't even a social media guy at the time, so it was like that was that big of a deal. It's like traveling sober, what the hell? And I'm usually dropping $100 getting those overpriced drinks at the airport, you know. It's
Yeah.
like
Well,
it's a
that's
big
the beauty.
change.
I really, Ryan, never thought I'd get sober. I thought it was going to be my whole life. I just loved alcohol. And so when I hear people are sober like 2 weeks or a month or a year, I thought, no way, that's
Yeah,
impossible. And so
same.
it's like, why would you want to be sober?
And
And
look at
just
you,
try to
you
keep,
know,
yeah,
8 months now, 9 months, coming up.
yeah,
So
just over 9 months. So the journey to get sober, which I'll get, that was a journey. Now staying sober.
yeah,
It's been that's been rather simple. It's been easy because it's been so much more than just my whole goal was to stop drinking alcohol. That was my one goal, is stop
yeah.
drinking. But
Well, take
now
me.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, well, take me into those last days, final days. Like your wife started to say something, your friend took you out to lunch and mentioned something. Like those last few days of drinking, how did that go? And like, what started your sobriety?
Oh, it was up and down because the last time I stopped, I decided I need to go into rehab because I tried to stop. I went hunting with my youngest son, deer hunting. I went with my father-in-law. We went on a mountain goat hunt. So it's 8 days. I knew I couldn't drink. So it's for sobriety. All I did was indica edibles at night to fall asleep. And on that hunt, those two hunts, I came to a conclusion. I'm not drinking it only 2 to 3 times a month. And I'll just take edibles at night to fall asleep. I cracked the code, Ryan. I cracked the code. Well, my first night back from the hunt, I wasn't home more than 15 minutes. Right straight to the liquor store, got a liter of vodka, went after it, or tequila. And then the next day, I was rolling for about 8, 9, 10 days. And that's when the progression hit so bad. I was scared. Like, I'm not going to be able to, I'm done. And that's when my wife got mad. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. That was I tried other ways, getting sober. I'd done a psilocybin journey, which worked for about 8 or 9 days. And then day 9, I was back to normal. I tried that California sober. The first time I tried AA, I walked into a meeting at high noon on a Saturday, and I just a cold turkey did for 5, 6 days, and Jimmy Buffett died. So that was a reason to drink. So I went straight to the liquor
Yeah,
store, got a couple bottles of tequila. And
yeah.
so anyways, that last week,
Margaritaville. Yeah,
yeah, that was my era. So you have to drink
yeah.
for Jimmy.
I
So
used to
that,
karaoke that song during my most wasted nights. Yeah,
but what I want to get into, because if this helps a few people, because when I talked to my therapist, she's like, hey, it's time for rehab. I'm like, man, because I was consistently being inconsistent. And as Steve-O, I watch a lot of podcasts like Theo Vaughn and Steve-O, Dax Shepard, all those guys. And I love what Steve-O said. He says the worst type of alcoholism is you're still somewhat functioning, but you're just not hitting your potential. You're going up and down. It was a great podcast he did. And I probably saw that 5 years ago. I go, if that's me.
armchair expert or something. Yeah,
Yeah, he nailed it, and it was progressing bad. So, anyways, I go into rehab, think it's the right thing, but it didn't take long to realize, man, most people have been to rehab before, even multiple times. There are a couple people have been to rehab. I was naive. I thought rehab was like a 90% success rate, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it didn't take long to realize, whoa, it's pretty low success rate. And
Mm,
so that was disheartening. But my breakthrough moment it wasn't from the therapist, wasn't from the clinical director, it was from the morning cook. Towards the end of my 30-day stay, the morning cook was just this good, genuine, nice lady. And I asked her, it was 6 a.m., get my coffee, just her and I asked her if she was sober. She goes, yeah, I'm 5 years sober. And I'm like, how'd you crack the code? And she looks around and she goes, Michael, Ibogaine. I go, Ivo, what? And she goes, go to Mexico and do Ibogaine. And I was like, never heard of it, right? And so I come out of rehab in November of 2024. And then January 2025 is when that podcast with Joe Rogan, Governor Rick Perry, and Brian Hubbard comes on. I watched that podcast for 2 hours. I'm like, whoa. So I started going down the rabbit hole. Anyways, I was sober 98 days. I come back down. I was down. There's an AA down here in Mexico, great AA community. So I was enjoying that. But after 98 days, I started drinking again. Of course, I try to control it, right? And that we know how trying to, yeah, anyways. So I Google where's Ibogaine Clinic in Cabo San Lucas, and this Varaja Wellness Center popped up. So I reach out to them, do some more research. I meet with my therapist and I ask her, I go, have you heard of Ibogaine? I thought she was going to judge me. She goes, I've heard of Ibogaine. I go, is there any place closer up here to Todos Santos? She goes, no, Michael, but there's an Iboga retreat. I'm like, Iboga, Ibogaine? And so anyways, and she's a great therapist, very objective. So just for scheduling, I decided to do Ibogaine because that's more focused on addiction, right? Started because of opiates and heroin and, it's for alcoholism. And I went into the clinic, did 3 days, cost me $3,000, a clinical setting, take an EKG and, give you an IV. And it was rather uneventful, right? But I did notice the next day, I saw a couple visuals. The visual I saw was just as a collage of pictures saying empty alcohol bottles and, danger, danger, TNT, stay away, stay away. But the next morning, I'm at breakfast, I kind of noticed I have zero cravings for alcohol.
Wow.
It was weird. And there's another couple there. He was actually a lawyer from Harvard, or older gentleman. His alcohol, he was like a bedridden alcoholic, and his wife was very upset because he had been over 10 rehabs, spent the grundle money, and not one rehab center mentioned Ibogaine. And she saw the same podcast I saw. So here we are in May of 2025. Both he and I are doing Ibogaine. Anyways,
Yeah.
I was sober for 21 days. Then I had a stressful event and started drinking again. So I went 98 days after rehab, 21 days, first time doing Ibogaine. But I circled back to the Iboga retreat and I signed up for that to do it in November. It was still 3.5 months away at this point, which is a long time. And so partying again, I had one night really hit it too hard. I was getting back to normal drinking patterns. And so I told my wife, I go, honey, I think I'm gonna do Ibogaine again. And that's what I did. I went in for 2 days, cost me $2,000. And that was it. That was August 30th of last year. And I have not had a sip of alcohol since. No craving, no desire. Brian, it's been simple. That's what's
That is
so
insane.
crazy. It's like I still hang out. I spend most of my time down here in the bar, probably 90% of the time. And I was at a bar last night. Well, we did a sound healing, a sound bath. Then we went to this our popular sports bar, and it doesn't phase me at all. But the issue is I already signed up for the Iboga retreat. I already put 50% down, so I wasn't going to pass up on that, right? And I knew it was critical coming out of the Ibogaine that it's only 3 months to the Iboga. I have to be able to stay sober for 3 months. Well, I started getting this point, sugar cravings started kicking in. Started having sugar cravings. I was never an ice cream guy, eating ice cream. Anyways, I go into the Iboga retreat. It's 7 days. And this Iboga retreat ended up being probably the best week of my life because I went there for like insurance on alcohol. But as my wife says, now I have zero cravings for sugar, no cravings for like even fried food. I hike. I've never hiked in my life. I hike every morning. I still like to
Wow.
fish. I hike every morning. I eat high,
Yeah,
very
cardio
quality.
and yeah.
I've lost like 20 something pounds. It's just so much more than just this whole journey. While the journey of getting sober was so challenging, actually being sober, it's been beautiful. And
Can I ask
it's been
some? Sorry, what were you gonna say?
ask anything.
Oh, I want to ask some questions about the actual Ibogaine experience. Like, what was going through your mind the day you arrived for treatment?
The first time it probably wasn't good. I was too excited. I'd just flown in from Vegas. I spent the weekend with my wife. I came in pretty hot from the flight. I partied and landed in San Luis Cabo. Of course, they have a liquor store there. Bought a bottle of tequila, Don Julio. I was partying out late that night, live music. It was a Friday night in San Luis Cabo. I thought there was going to be a break. I thought I was going to check in the next day at 10 o'clock. I saw the doctor, took an EKG, and I thought there'd be a break till the next day. I didn't know I was going to do it that day. So I was not prepared the first time I did Ibogaine. That was more on me. Yeah. So that was kind of my mind. I was excited. They said when I walked in the first time, I had my bag and I was just excited. I was like, hey, let's do this, Like yeah.
So for like someone who's never heard of it, which I know there's a lot of people out there, can you describe the experience in like a simplistic way?
Yeah, it's very simple. So the Ibogaine is a clinical setting, while Iboga is the full root. It's more in a fire ceremony. So with the Ibogaine, which that gets all the publicity, when I heard this over a year ago, this is before, now there's an executive order to get fast track clinical trials. And so it's getting a lot of momentum because rehab was fine. They may like you, but they love your health insurance, right? And I love the AA community. But what's most effective? What's most effective by far? If I was someone starting out again, I'd go straight to Iboga. But anyways, to answer your question, I began the clinical setting. It's just capsules. They give you 3 to 4 doses, and it's not a recreational. If you get online on Netflix, they have the Navy SEALs of PTSD. They went up the AMU clinic, and most of theirs was very intense. Mine was not intense. It was rather uneventful, but it worked. It just resets your brain. It scrubs out all your dopamine, serotonin receptors. It kind of gives you this chance to reset and get going. And so that's what happens. You're in a bed and you have nurses. And it's just a clinical setting. It lasts up to about 24 hours. It's really the first 4 to 6 hours, but then you stay, you just relax. Yeah, it's not like doing Yeah, go ahead.
What's like the most powerful thing you saw or felt or realized during that experience, like the most intense part?
Yeah, and it varies. That's why it's kind of challenging because everyone has such different experiences. I just hung up on the phone with a guy who just got done with Iboga a couple of weeks ago, and his experience, it was beautiful. He says best week of his life. He's a better husband, father, colleague, everything. It's tough to explain because some people don't see any visuals. For me, my biggest impact was the Iboga because Ibogaine is just a single alkaloid, where Iboga is a full root bark, it's a full plant. And there's the Bwiti. What I liked about Iboga is the Bwiti tradition. This is critical to me. This is critical for people like us, addicts, right? We're just a low hanging fruit. Addicts, first responders, the Navy SEALs, PTSD. We're the ones that probably need it the most. But it really, like this gentleman just told me, it's for everything. The Iboga is for anyone who wants to get more self-worth, more self-purpose. It kind of realigns you what's important in life. Forget all this consumerism, all this. Because when I'm getting out in the Iboga, I did have a deep, what you'll see, anyone listen to this, do the research. I went and saw an Aubrey Marcus podcast, and he was an atheist before he did Iboga. And he warned, he goes, if you want to stay atheist, don't do Iboga. And I thought, why? I'm Christian. I believe in God. That's not applicable to me, right? And I think Sean Ryan said a similar thing. But whoa, the second ceremony, because the fire ceremony, they teach you about the Bwiti tradition. You sit around the fire. That's where they give you, it's a root bark. It's like a spoonful. You swallow it with water. The onset's usually within about 30 to 45 minutes. Then you go lay down. It's a very controlled environment. Underneath the Palapa, you have beds outside. You have pillows. And you basically, it starts at night, around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And you lay down under the Palapa until the sunrise. And then they take you back to your room.
Wow.
But yeah, but I did have the second fire ceremony. I just wanted a spiritual experience. And I went to, it's called Iterio. It's near Todos Santos. It's amazing. They're helping thousands of people. Between down here, there's one rehab center, nice rehab center. It costs about 50% less than that at the US. And they probably helped hundreds of people, which is great people. However, the Iboga and Ibogaine have helped thousands.
Was there like a moment where you felt something shift?
Yeah. So the Iboga ceremony, the first time I did it, after I woke up, I noticed my sugar cravings were gone. But you write down questions. And this sounds like I've not bitten my fingernails since I've bitten my fingernails my whole life. So I went in there just for alcoholism. But during the second ceremony is when I had that spiritual experience. And that was the biggest shift. But you notice a big part of it is that there's no silver bullet, right? That's one thing. You have to really kind of prepare and do integration work afterwards. Integration work may include, kind of working out, being healthy, getting outdoors. Just start with watching sunrise and sunset. Just simple things. Trying to eat good food. I used to always eat at Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. I never cared, Now it's like, now I'm very, conscious of what I'm eating, which first time ever, very, your body, it really shifts. So the integration work, I still like to go to AA once, maybe twice a week because I love the community. I love the shares, and we're all the same goal. To me, it's all about getting sober. If you're ready to get sober, whatever it takes, whether it's AA, rehab. In this case, I think what's most effective is, Ibogaine or Iboga. That's kind of going to be the new I almost a lot of people feel like the gentleman I spoke to. It's kind of like rehab and A, or and they've helped a lot of people. It's almost like a legacy system compared to what's available now with this new. If I were to start over again, I'll go straight to doing like Iboga.
Yeah.
And I get pushback from your rehab centers. Yeah, they're feeling the they. I feel for people who've been relapsing, going to rehab 3 times, 5 times, 10. This, come on, they
I hear
come on.
about that, and I've been sober almost 21 months, and I guess I'm considered one of those first timer success stories. But the amount of people I met in there that were there for 5, 6 times, I'm just like, the reason I was motivated to getting out was like, I'm not gonna waste the time going and all the money spent to go to rehab and just do it one time. So that was a motivation for me to never go back, was to stay sober. But some people don't do it that way, though. Some people just come back out, use. But just thinking of all the money and time that you put into it, I'm just like, I gotta take advantage of it. So
Yeah, I think they billed my insurance like $33,000. It's for 1 month.
yeah,
So my journey out of pocket, I spent 3 grand the first time. My second time, 2 grand the second time, to 7 grand for the Iboga. So I was into that 12 grand. A lot of money. But compared to people going to rehab centers all the time, maybe insurance is paying for it, right? But
yeah, it's still money. So somebody's paying
yeah,
for it. So
well, this is going to help millions and millions of people once it gets approved. But it is kind of a sensitive topic, because it's a spiritual component to this plant medicine, and you really have to be called to it. So I hate to see it. Something I'm sensitive about, because early in my career, I used to be a pharmaceutical rep. I was the fentanyl rep for J&J, the Duragesic. Our biggest competitor was OxyContin, Purdue Pharma. So I
yeah,
witnessed all that abuse and addiction. I did not like. I was a pharmaceutical rep less than a year. I did not like it, but it opened my eyes. And the fact that all these opiates are available, benzos, SSRIs, and alcohol is just available everywhere. It's just
yeah.
backwards.
So, like, what other, now knowing what you know, like, how did, like, what recovery work do you still have to do after Ibogaine, like maintenance type stuff?
See, they call it reintegration work. And some people do Ibogaine or Iboga. I'd say the success rate's high. It's tough. There's no official clinical trials, but it's like over 70, 80. Some people say over 90%. For me, it took me 2 times, but it stuck. And so integration work is more. Some people don't go to AA. I say most people don't go to AA because they want to just get alcohol free and don't want to talk about it anymore. They just want to move on. And a lot of people do that. I get that. But I started going to AA down here before I did Ibogaine. So a lot of great people. So I
Hmm.
love the community. And yeah, I just want to me, there should be a bridge between AA and Ibogaine. We should support each other.
I agree.
And there have been some old school people. When I first brought it up, I've only shared it like 3 or 4 times. The first time, like 2 or 3 old school AA people were like, "Oh, they poo-pooed it, right?" But they won't any. They don't anymore. They've done the research. Once you do an hour or two, anyone who listens to this, spend an hour or two, do the research. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. I spend a lot of time on the phone. I love talking to people, because a lot of people get anxious before they do it. They get a little anxiety. There's nothing to be fearful. Just know it's gonna in the next 5 years, this is gonna be drastically change. But when I first showed up for the Iboga, I didn't know if we were taking the medicine, Ryan, and then dancing around the fireplace. I had no idea. I didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I didn't know it's such a beautiful, classy experience. And you stay in a nice hotel, you have nurses, and a lot of nurses come down from the States because they're tired. They're tired of just seeing all the addiction, the benzos. All, they just want to help, right?
Yeah.
And
Ha-
yeah.
Have you heard of any negative experiences that stand out, or has it all been pretty positive?
The negative is, I did have a gentleman who I talked to his ex-wife, never talked to him directly, but he was down to this area. He was a fisherman, severe alcoholic, right, for about a decade. And he went in, he came out, only lasted a few days.
Okay.
So it's no silver bullet, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's like rehab. You don't give it enough of a chance. You're not giving it the chance for it to work.
Correct. And so, yeah, there's another lady in my situation. She lasted about 3 or 4 weeks sober. Then she started drinking again, but she did Ibogaine again a second time, and it stuck for her too.
Okay.
So there's kind of a pattern, but just, yeah, be objective. But that's kind of the message. Just start doing the research. I'm so grateful for that morning cook, the messenger in rehab, who told me she was just a normal person. And that's what changed her life was
Yeah.
Ibogaine.
And it's
And she
interesting.
did it. Yeah.
Sorry, it's interesting knowing that your cravings for alcohol went away, and then you started all these other healthy practices like watching what you eat and exercise and stuff. Like, how did that come about? That's crazy.
Tell me about it. It is crazy. The guy I just hung up with who just did the Iboga retreat 2 weeks ago, he went to a place up in Oregon, and he said he's a just it's tough to describe. He's like, you really have to be called to the medicine because it's tough to, fried foods, sugar. I've not had a Kit Kat bar or a Snicker bar since I did the Iboga retreat. And I don't do soda pop. I think I've had one soda pop. In addiction, in my family, my parents, food was a big addiction. Sugar was a huge addiction. I was the only alcoholic in my immediate family, but food was a big issue. And
What?
that really, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, just that's interesting looking back. Like what did Ibogaine reveal about the root cause of your drinking? Do you know?
About the root cause, I just had it. I think it was something I just enjoyed. I just enjoyed it and felt it gave me this. When I'd have a few shots of tequila, it just gave me this rush. I mean, it was like game time.
Yeah.
Let's go and don't stop. Right? It was happy go time. I was never like an angry. I never got I never been accused of a misdemeanor. I always take Ubers or Lyfts, but my best friend goes, "Hey, I know what you're capable of." And that last vacation, we vacation about 2 times a year together, and he still didn't see. He saw the tequila bottle, like he's a normie, right? Like my wife, and he'd have one drink, maybe two. He said, and but he knew about the extra bottle I had in my room, right?
We always have that spare. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was rotating and so yeah, I would. But you have to write down questions too of what you want, and that's something I didn't do until I got there. Or a couple of other attendees, they'd show up with 20, 30 questions. I was just very kind of curious. But when I got there, I started writing down questions like how to become a better father, a better husband, a better colleague, how to have maybe more patience, how to live a more purposeful life. My wife was the one who said, well, "Why don't you write down how to have a closer relationship with God?" I'm like, okay. And then I wrote down like, how do I stop biting my fingernails? All these things you start writing down. How do you eat more? How do I have a healthier lifestyle?
Yeah.
And the Iboga it kind of talks to you. It's really something that just the Bwiti people believe in Cabone. It's because this Iboga is a root bark it's a shrub tree, and it's a spiritual, religious ceremony. And
Yeah.
with the full plant, they say you can have a spiritual experience, which I was very, yeah, whatever. But now with everything I've seen online, I'm like, okay, I get it. And so for I think we're just badasses. I do. I think addicts, I hike every morning with a couple of people. They're sober, and we just know how to go hard, right? We just some of the best employees, the best people in life are former alcoholics, former addicts, and yeah,
I think a question that a lot of people would ask listening right now, could someone stay sober after Ibogaine without changing their lifestyle at all? Do you think? Like how much
they
of it has to
incur.
do with lifestyle changes?
I think it has, like I said earlier, I don't think there's any magic bullet to silver. I think there should be lifestyle changes, just like coming out of rehab. I think what it does is gives you a reset. It gives you that jump start to do it. That's the key. Like I had a guy in AA tell me, you have to have that step 12 is the spiritual awakening. And I'm like, well, yeah, I agree with that. I love the 12. I love the AA program. It's helped millions. But what if you get that spiritual awakening, that spiritual experience up front? Why wait for it? Why could it have to be forced? Do the detox if needed, and get moving forward. Get the reset. It's going to help you. Like the guy who just told me, I was hung up with. He's like, "Man, I did not see this." Like he goes, "I'm in traffic every day commuting. I'm just fine now." He's like, "Finances. I still worry about finances, but it'll be okay." And that's what my wife says. My wife goes like, "You're not stressed out about, and my kids notice that too. You just, hey, it's going to be okay." But yeah, lifestyle changes, they call it integration work. And a lot of that comes naturally. You need that kickstart. And so it's not the experience itself may not be it's not a recreational experience. For some people, it's extremely intense. It's not joyful. It's very challenging. For me, it was kind of, most of it was uneventful, but the end point was incredible.
What are the like misconceptions people have about it?
I'd say the misconceptions are it's you just have to show up and take a pill and you'll be done. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's not
naive.
just a miracle. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no miracle drug. I look at it what's more, and I have no financial interest in anything. I just want people to start researching it, and that's why someone could reach out to me, and that way you can know somebody. Because I've talked to a lot of people who've gone in, so I was kind of their source, and the feedback was all phenomenal. And the texts were like, "Thank you so much, thank you." I'm like, oh, you got it. And that was enough said. You got it. So the misconception would be, I hear people say, oh, it's a psychedelic, well, oh, there's one thing, there's a cardiac risk, right? So you take IV with magnesium. I think there's been like 20 deaths worldwide from Ibogaine. That's what but I think there's like over 500 people every day in the US that die from alcoholism. So
Yeah.
it's a minimal risk. And it's a very
Yeah.
small, that's why it's not something you do at home, right? You go to the clinical setting or even the ceremony setting, they have MT there and you have IVs. It's all professional.
Okay. So
I think it's just more word of mouth, Ryan, more than anything.
that's what,
Just the unknown.
yeah. And I've heard a lot of people talking about it more and more. The more I'm getting a part of the sober community, the more I'm seeing posts about it and people raving about it, and a lot more positive outlooks on it than negative. So obviously something's working.
Yeah, I mean, Stanford did a survey. They've done a trial. It was a small trial for the SEALs, and that was very positive. I keep in touch with the clinic down here, Raha Wellness Center, Ibogaine Clinic. I'm really close to the Eterio, the Iboga retreat here. They have a retreat like every 6, 7, 8 weeks. They have like 10 people that come in. It changed their lives. The feedback is just, the problem now is a lot of these clinics are getting, I heard the Ambio clinic up in Tijuana is booked out over a year. There's new places popping up, and just kind of be due diligence, right? Because a lot of the times, what I like here, there's one in Costa Rica. It's big in Portugal. It's unfortunate, but it's coming more and more to the U.S. But they go the facilitators will go to have the ceremony done with the Bwiti people in Gabon. And I know it sounds like well, it's actually really cool. It's really cool. They go spend a couple weeks and learn it,
Awesome.
because at the same time you're doing the ceremony here, they're doing a ceremony for the group out there too.
Okay.
So I
Interesting.
guess what I'd say is it'd be silly for right now that we have all this addiction, all this anxiety, depression, all these SSRIs, benzos.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And I think now's the time that people, they think God wouldn't have a tool here, his medicine here on earth for us needed at the right time. That's Iboga. And the more and more you hear about Iboga, because Ibogaine is going to, I don't like to hear synthetic, the big pharma gets involved.
Yeah.
The big pharma gets involved. It kind of makes me, I feel this is my person, the Ibogaine is just a bridge to Iboga. I think everyone should be doing Iboga and keep that protected for the Bwiti. You keep it very protected. However, I've seen things online like VC money's going after Iboga now. They see that as a new frontier. It's like, oh no, because there's a spiritual component to it. You can't replicate this spiritual.
Yeah.
You have to
Exactly.
respect. You have to
We're gonna
respect it.
tarnish everything. Yeah.
It has to be respected. That's my concern.
Yeah. Yeah. And big pharma would completely tarnish that entire experience.
So I'm happy Ibogaine is going to help millions of people, but how is it going to? It's like tobacco came out, right? They put all these chemicals and made cigarettes just horrible, right? Now what are they going to do with Ibogaine?
Yep.
I hope they don't touch Iboga.
I hope not. Yeah.
I hope they do not touch, because I don't know a single person on this earth, a family member, friend, who would not benefit significantly from doing Iboga. But you have to
Yeah.
be called to it.
Yeah. So let's hear a little bit more about just how your recovery is going in sobriety. Like, what's 24 hours like now? What are the other things that have improved in your life since your Ibogaine treatment, and with your relationship with your wife and family, and how's everything in summary?
Sex life's a lot better, right? No, it's
Yeah,
phenomenal, right? No, I have a great wife, and
it's
I
a
got
good
to give her
reaction.
kudos. Yeah, she stuck with me, right? She did tell me, she goes, if I divorce you and you get sober for another woman, I'll be pissed. And she said that during the height of my alcoholism, and I was like, my average day now, I'm actually up every morning by like 4:45, 5 o'clock. I drink. This sounds so weird, but this is what I do. Since you asked the question, I warm up water. I have warm water with lemon and raw honey to start out with. Then I have 2 cups of coffee. I put creatine in it. And then before we go on a walk every morning at 6:30 to 8, I go to walk with my wife, a couple of retired surfers down here. And before the walk, I'll have I call it a tea, but it's two spoonfuls of olive oil, raw honey, lemon, turmeric, black pepper. We finish
Nice.
that off, then you go on the hike, and then you come back, and I'll have eggs with spinach and cilantro, and this is so, yeah, it's not the hamburger, it's not the sausage McMuffin at McDonald's anymore.
You got this
Um,
nice regimen going. That's great.
yeah, then we do that every morning. I still like to fish. I'm a surfer. I fish off the beach a lot. But no, we do all sorts of, as far as integration. I never meditated till I learned about that in rehab. I was really after, I began to learn about sound baths, meditation, all that
I've been doing
lifestyle
sound
change.
baths. Yeah,
What did you
it's
think
really
about
nice. I love it. I love it. Every time they're in town, I'm in a small town in Idaho, but every
Where
time
in
the
Idaho
person
are
comes
you?
to town, Lewiston,
Yeah. Okay, cool. I went fishing up there. What's that? Yeah, I've
Snake
been up
River.
there.
Yeah.
Snake, yeah.
But
So
like, there's this guy that comes to town to do a sound bath every couple of months, and I always make sure I'm signed up because I just walk out feeling like $1,000,000. That and just a lot of breathing, breathwork therapy and stuff. It's pretty cool. So yeah,
so we just did breathwork for the first time 3 weeks ago. We've done it 5 times
it's so
in the
nice, right?
last. That is, if anyone listening, I would start with breath work. The sound bath. What would you start with, breath work or sound bath?
I
What would you
did a
start with?
sound bath before breathwork, but I'd probably start with breathwork. Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
What was your experience like?
It was incredible. I actually went into a trance, and I actually like met up with my deceased sister and my grandmother, and had this experience, and I came out of it crying. Not even kidding. So,
No,
and I'm not an emotional person. I hadn't cried in sobriety, and I complained about it on my podcast for months, and then I went into breath work like a month and a half ago and cried. It was great.
my wife twice cried. Had this
Really.
experience like you just described. It was. I think
Wow.
I have. Yeah, I have more challenge locking in, but I just love it. It's just so calming and peaceful. And
Was,
see,
yeah.
we did it right here on my rooftop, like 5 of us
That's awesome.
at
It's so
sunset, and
effective. Yeah.
it's yeah. So we do a lot of. I came down here, Ryan, to party, to drink, and fish. That was it. I'd never thought I'd come down here and get sober.
Yeah. That's
But
amazing.
but the but the wellness community is, I'd say, is bigger than the party community.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
wellness community now, people are eating healthy. They're just want to be present and they don't want to sit around the table and, have 5, 10 shots of tequila and go, I love you, man. I love you, Ryan. I
Yeah.
love
Have
you.
a bunch of, fake conversations and all that, It's all about being authentic and present. So,
We're getting together. Yeah, we're getting together most nights of the week. Just kind of get together, have a meal, and share. And that's fine. People drink. I don't. That's fine. But it's amazing how many people don't. It's shocking how many people have like shifted away.
sobriety's becoming popular. It's the new cool, I like it.
Yeah, well, alcohol's poison. Now, even if I were to have like one shot of tequila, I'd be like, why? It's like that's poison. Why don't I want that stuff?
And I look at it that way too. It's just, why would I want that in my body anymore, So, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, but that's why I don't know. There's yeah. Any other questions though, Ryan? We've covered a lot. Yeah.
Couple just closing questions. What I like to ask is there a quote that you live by, and also what advice would you give to listeners out there that are struggling right now, that are looking for help, and any advice you have based on your experience, whether with recovery and Ibogaine, or, you know, how you've been in sobriety, just whatever you want.
Yes. Okay. A quote. Well, I'm known for this quote. I learned this from a fisherman down here who came to Holland 25 years ago named Stefan Jansen. He never left. He had to get by. He goes, if I'm surviving, I'm thriving.
I like that.
And so I love that quote. I stole that. I've used that quote because I'm just trying to I used to be so driven by money, money, money. Now it's like, okay, we're getting by. It'll be okay. If we're surviving, we're thriving. And a lot of people are doing the same thing. Anyone looking to get sober, just don't give up. Just know we've all been there. You think you have to have alcohol. I get it. You just, there's hundreds of mornings I woke up, I'm not drinking today. Come 5 o'clock, I'm freaking, yeah, it is. That was the norm, right? And you just had no hope. You're like, this thing just, it owns me. My wife goes, you have such control of your life, except for alcohol just owns you. I'm like, it does, man. It just freaking owns me. And it was so progressive and it gets worse. And so if you know you're heading the right, don't wait until if you have to hit rock, like deep, everyone has their own, as my wife says, everyone has their own rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own rock bottom. And I had enough, it's like, so don't give up hope. Just start watching podcasts. I started watching, what you're doing is awesome. I started watching some of these other people, and it's like, oh, this is normal. Being an alcoholic is, geez, everyone's an alcoholic. I love the quote Laird Hamilton says, either everyone's a surfer or an alcoholic or both. There's no in between. Like, you're right, Laird Hamilton. Yeah, have you seen that? I guess
that's a good one,
his wife's Gabrielle Reese, the professional volleyball player. She said he stopped being Laird about 15 years ago, started being Larry. And so he had to stop drinking. So he's 15 years sober, but why, if you're going to drink, why would you just have a few, man? Have the whole bottle, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get this party going, but just know it's so much better without. I never thought the high would be so much better without a high.
Exactly. That's amazing. That's the life you're living now and thriving, surviving and thriving, but not even surviving anymore. You're just thriving. So it's good.
Yeah. And the purpose of life is you can find true happiness. Don't get caught up I was caught up in consumerism. That was one thing, the gray day after the Iboga. I guess conclude on this. I went back to high school where I go to a lot of Oakland A's games, and the banners were all Marlboro signs, Anheuser-Busch. That was normal, right?
Yeah.
And it's just consumerism. And everywhere you go is just, but to simplify. I guess to simplify, and find limit. Do your job. That's fine, but don't let the job own you. The job doesn't give you self-worth. Find your own self-worth and just help. Just simplify and live a purposeful life.
Well done. Well said. Thanks for coming on the show and being vulnerable and talking about Ibogaine treatment and everything, man. I really appreciate you reaching out and being on the show. It really means a lot.
Hey, much love, everybody. Cheers.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.